First, let's start out by defining what a genetically modified organism, or GMO, is. A genetically modified organism is an organism that has had its characteristics changed through modification of their DNA. Usually this modification would involve adding of another organism's DNA into the organism that is being changed. GMOs have been around for as long as humans have been growing food and breeding animals, because farmers would breed and seed only the best animals and plants. In 1944, Oswald Avery identified DNA as the true carrier of molecular information. Also, gene splicing has dates all the way back to 1972. Genetically modified organisms were first released to the public in the 1990s. GMOs are used in many food products that contain corn, soy, canola, and sugar beets, which is most packaged food. Many animal products also contain GMOs. Animals are fed grains or other food during their development that include materials to help them grow faster and bigger. Example of this is the chicken breast. Most wild chickens and non-GMO chickens have smaller breast meats, while those that are modified have more breast meat and grow larger, which allows them to have a greater profit yield. But not all GMOs are used for the food industry. For example, some GMOs are used in the medical field, such as the case with Atrin, the first drug made from a genetically engineered animal to be approved by the FDA. Atrin is a blood thinner made from the genetically modified goat's milk. GTC Biotherapeutics makes Atrin as an injection that will be used to treat patients with a rare hereditary disorder called antithrombin deficiency that puts them at a high risk for deadly blood clots. Another use of GMOs in the medical field is for the immunotherapy. One of these immunotherapies is called the CART. CART is a cell method where a doctor removes a T cell from the patient and then genetically modifies that cell so that the T cell will seek out and destroy cancerous cells. This method can be used for leukemia and other similar cancers. One of the more well-known uses of GMOs is making glow-in-the-dark animals, which has a large range of uses, from animals in pet stores like glowfish or helping figuring out how inherited diseases work. Most of these modified animals receive the GFP protein from deep-sea jellyfish, which allows them to glow in the darkest, blackest, and deepest parts of the world's ocean. One of these genetically modified animals is sheep. Scientists hope that one day that animals such as these sheep can be used to produce health-boosting milk. In Japan, scientists are working with monkeys to see if the modified gene will be inherited by its offspring of the GMO animals. The gene was inherited by 2 of the 5 monkeys born from GMO parents. This research gave scientists a major step in studying Parkinson's disease and other motor neuron diseases that are passed down through generations. Because the glow gene is in the monkeys allow for the scientists to understand how the generation disease are passed on. At Seoul National University, they bred a beagle named Tegan, where they would control his glowing gene. They had him eat food with dioxazine antibiotic and then expose him to ultraviolet light. After this, his glow would fade. Scientists say that this will lead for the understanding of genes that trigger fatal diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's in people. Because these diseases have a trigger, the experiment is similar because the antibiotic causes the glow gene to fade in the dog, which allows for a better understanding of the diseases. If you are worried about the animals, the GFP gene causes no harm to them. How can GMOs be serendipitous? GMOs are serendipitous because they involve a lot of chance and luck in finding the DNA and methods that work the best to produce them. Also, there was a moment of fate for a young boy named Hassan. Hassan is from Syria and has epidermis mollosus bullosa. Epidermis mollosus bullosa is a rare skin disorder which causes the skin to be extremely fragile and to break or peel. He was able to go to a hospital in Germany, which his father found by chance. His father says that when his son was first diagnosed in Syria, doctors told him there was no cure. This diagnosis led to find the Munster University Hospital in 2015. When Hassan was 7, his condition worsened, and doctors at the university decided to transfer him to University Buchmanns University Hospital. At this hospital, they were able to cover 80% of his body with transgenic skin. Transgenic skin is grown in a laboratory to substitute for real skin, which cured him of his illness. But genetically modifying this boy's own cells, doctors were essentially able to cure him of his disorder that was labeled incurable. This is serendipitous because he was transferred to this hospital with no hope of survival, but through science, he was cured and to go on to live a mostly healthy life. Also, transgenic skin implants was a pioneering GMO product. The future of GMOs contains things like modifying your own children before they are born to make them stronger, faster, and smarter, which means people will be able to design their own babies. But there is also a medical aspect where science will be able to prevent babies from inheriting generational diseases. Many see that genetically modifying babies is normal, or at least for making them better. But using science to enhance these babies so they cannot get diseases is more acceptable, and this process is called germline editing. But there is a problem with it. Fixing the embryo will sometimes cause monosaccharism, where the new DNA is only taken up by a few cells in the embryo, which would make germline editing unsafe. The U.S. National Academy of Sciences has said that editing the embryo can only be used to eliminate serious diseases. Congress has blocked the IVF embryos developing into babies. Some see the proposal of the genetically modified babies as unnatural and unnecessary. This topic is largely rejected by the medical research community. Many also see it a difficult, expensive, and uncertain way to solve problems that can already have other solutions, like picking an embryo that lacks the gene in question. But there are others with a different view. In the case of Steinbeck, a person who told Live Science that he does not think there is anything wrong with the attempt to make our children smarter or kinder. So all in all, some see it as a good thing and others see it as a bad thing. I think that curing a disease is a good thing, but changing or picking children's traits or modifying these babies is no in my book. But how is a GMO even accomplished? Most GMOs involve taking DNA from one organism and putting it into another organism. In the human and animal case, DNA is inserted into the embryo and then implanted into the womb. In the human case, there has not been any cases, at least in the U.S., of attempting this step. In the plants and in food-based animals, genetic modification is done through the use of genetic engineering or adding new materials to their food to change them. First, the scientist has to decide if it's the best choice of action. Then determine the gene that can solve the problem. In case some will be used bacterial DNA. Next, copy the gene from a donor organism, implant it into the plant or animal. In plants, you test the seeds and find the best, breed it with others. So here you have is a simple process of how GMOs are produced. So why do GMOs matter? Well, food GMOs allow for farmers to cheaply and effectively produce their products. Also, they allow for plants and animals to be more productive and resistant to various conditions that can cause illness or harm. But GMOs are not just for animals and plants. They can be used in the medical field to solve medical problems and cure illnesses and disorders. GMOs can also be used to produce life-saving drugs and to make transgenic organs. I personally feel that GMOs are a good thing and that they positively impact our lives because they allow for more food and to be produced, which feeds our communities and families. Also, GMOs are affecting our medicine, which allows for new technologies to be formed that improve people's lives and allow some to live healthier lives. I hope that you have learned more about GMOs and their uses, and that you also may have developed a different outlook on them.